Hello everyone and welcome back to Caverns of the Snow Witch. When we last left off, we just entered these said caverns and we managed to find a potion that healed us back up to full stamina and full skill points, so we are quite okay at this moment. Now, this was a dead end, but let's proceed. We need to explore the cavern, kill the Snow Witch, the titular Snow Witch, and yeah, and loot the place if we can and get out of here. So we have quite a lot of, you know, adventuring to do. So let's proceed. We walk past the entrance tunnel on our left and continue on down the main tunnel. Right, we don't want to exit, that makes sense, so let's proceed. The tunnel bends round to the right. As we turn the corner, we almost bump into a tall, pale-skinned humanoid coming the other way. He's wearing a white cloak with a hood pulled over his head. He's a mountain elf, one of the Snow Witch's followers. Alright, so we have found the first minion of the Snow Witch. Let's see what options we have. We could walk past him. Okay, I guess so. We could tell him that we have come to join the Snow Witch's followers. That sounds interesting. Or we could attack him. I don't want to attack him without provocation, you know. He might call for reinforcements, he might run away, whatever, and violence is our last resort, as usual. But anyway, we could tell him that we have come to join the Snow Witch's followers. That sounds funny and interesting. Let's see how he reacts. The mountain elf looks at us in disbelief and says, "Nobody of good heart would wish to join the Snow Witch. I am only here because of this." Throwing back his hood, the elf reveals a metal collar around his neck which glows in the semi-darkness. "Only the obedience color makes me serve her," he continues in a dour voice. Alright, so it seems that he's a slave, not a quote-unquote follower, as we were just told. So well, at least he's saying that he has this color, that, and he's an unwilling culprit here, an unwilling ally of the Snow Witch. We could believe him, or we could think that it's a trap, I guess. So we could reiterate our desire to join the Snow Witch, or we could change our story and tell the elf that we intend to slay her. Let's go out on a limb here. Let's see if the elf is lying. It might, I mean, this piece of information might come in use for later. So let's see if he's telling the truth. We are going to say that we are here to slay the Snow Witch. The mountain elf looks at us and smiles. "Now you're talking," he says. "Kill her and free us. Here, take my cloak to disguise yourself and follow this tunnel until it branches. Take the right-hand fork and good luck." We shake the elf's hand and run off down the tunnel. Okay, I guess we'll soon find out whether he was telling the truth, but so far it seems like it. So, assuming he said the truth, then it seems that the Snow Witch has slaves around, which she commands with an obedience color, and that is also kind of important because obviously it's a clear, like, insignia of her troops. So since we're not wearing one, we should be careful, we should be wary not to show ourselves, because then the creatures could know that, well, that we are no slaves, right? So we are not under her spell. Alright. We soon arrive at the fork in the tunnel that the mountain elf mentioned, and deciding to take his advice, we enter the tunnel to our right. Okay, it's interesting that we don't get the choice to choose otherwise, you know, to select the other path, but okay, so our path is set. Further ahead, in the left-hand wall of the tunnel, we see a gap. We walk up to it and peer around to see a cave in which a Neanderthal is stripping the skin of a moose, making it ready for the large simmering stew pot behind him. He is working very slowly and he is being yelled at by the gnome cook, who is wearing a white apron and waving a wooden spoon in the air. Alright, That is quite a scene to behold, I'd say. Yeah, this gnome doesn't look like the gnomes from the previous adventure, I'd say. We have met both gnomes and Neanderthals in previous adventures, so there's nothing new. Now we could creep past the entrance, so we could just skip this encounter, but obviously we don't want to do that. Let's enter this crude kitchen and let's see what we can find. The gnome runs up to us and shouts, "Get out! Dinner will not be ready for another 2 hours. You'll hear the bell. Mind you, you look a little worse for wear, so you can have this stale cake if you wish." I don't know why he says that. We are at full stamina. Well, we look a bit better than worn, I guess, but you know, our stamina is full, so we're quite okay. The gnome points at a piece of cake lying on the table. We could accept this offer, this present, and just leave. I guess it would restore some stamina to us, which we don't need. Or we could rather attack the Snow Witch's servants. That sounds like a better idea. I want to ransack this place. Maybe they have something useful. So let's dispose of them. As we draw our sword, the gnome yells an order to the dull-witted Neanderthal, telling him to kill us. Okay? The Neanderthal grunts and stands up, pushing the table away from him. He picks up a carving knife and a stool as a shield and lumbers forward to attack. Alright, let's fight the Neanderthal, and with a skill level of 7 we outskill him by 5 points, and he needs 4 hits to go down, so this should be a very easy battle. And of course, as I said, he lands a blow on us. I always jinx it like this, but it shouldn't be a problem afterwards, and it's not, so he landed 1 hit on us. That's acceptable. And now, the gnome does not want to end up like the Neanderthal and runs out of the cave shouting for help. Alright, so we've disposed of the formidable opponent and the gnome ran away. I'm not happy for that. I mean, obviously he's going to bring some help here, like the text says. So we could leave immediately, you know, and run away from any reinforcements pouring in, or we could search through the cupboards and risk the gnome returning with reinforcements. Now, obviously this is hazardous, or this is risky, well, but we have beaten this Neanderthal. We even suffered a wound for it, so I'm really curious what we can find, and I want to get the full list of prizes and rewards for our actions. So let's see what this kitchen holds. The cupboards are full of pots, pans, bowls and spoons. One cupboard is locked and we have to prise it open with our sword. It contains the gnome's personal possessions: a silver flute, a rune-carved wooden stick painted with blue and yellow hoops, an old withered rose, and an old leather-bound book entitled The Secrets of Toads. That sounds not interesting at all. What kind of secrets can toads have? Alright. Now we have a lot of options here, so well, I want to investigate all of these items. Let's start with the book first. I mean, the books have always been useful for us in our past adventures, and yeah, that might come in handy. The contents might come in handy later, so let's read the book first. Flicking up the clasp which keeps the book shut, a tiny hidden needle grazes our finger. There is poison on its tip to trap unwary thieves. We lose 4 stamina points. That's not nice. We're now down to 17 stamina, which is not excellent, but at least we're still alive. The gnome's other possessions remain in the cupboard, but do we dare examine them? Okay, well, we can now open the book. I highly doubt it will harm us again, but let's see. There is no writing in the book, alright, so it's not really a book. Just a recess cut in the pages which holds a talisman on a golden chain. The talisman is a jade frog. Alright. So it's actually, it was just a trapped, disguised box, I guess, so container. Let's put the chain around our neck. Since it was so well defended, I guess it's worth something. We are now wearing an amulet of courage. We gain 2 skill points, and this is the amulet that I mentioned in the introductory video. Unfortunately, we don't get that 2 skill points. So, as of this moment, we are we are now playing truly at hardcore hero difficulty, because we have 10 plus 2 skill points, so including the 2 that we, you know, did not really get because the game is bugged. So that's it then. Now we haven't checked anything else so far, so let's see what these items can do. Let's blow the flute first. We blow into the flute, and a jolly tune comes from it without us having to play a note. Okay, without our having to play a note, because this book was written by British people. We decide to put the magic flute in our backpack. Alright, so that didn't do any good or harm, but at least we have a magic flute with us. I don't know what use it could be, but whatever. Let's read the runes on the stick. Let's see if that's any help. Our knowledge of runes is limited, and we put the stick in our backpack, hoping to decipher it later. Okay, so so that was another dud. Basically, we got a rune stick, and there is nothing we could do about it, at least so far. Alright, let's smell the rose. Once again, I don't think it's harmful, but let's see. Despite being withered, the rose smells fresh and fragrant. As we inhale, we feel as though we are breathing new life into our lungs. We gain 3 stamina points. Actually, that's great. We are now back up to 20 stamina points, which is not bad. We're still down 3 points, you know, hit from the Neanderthal, and actually the book harmed us more than the rose healed. So, but you know, losing 1 stamina point for all these items, I guess, is evens out. There's nothing else we can ramsack here, you know. We have basically plundered everything that this kitchen had, this poor gnome had. So let's leave and let's proceed with our quest. We cannot spend the rest of our existence in this crude kitchen, I guess. In the distance we hear chanting voices. Before long the tunnel ends at the entrance to a large cavern. Kneeling down before an ice effigy in the shape of a demon, their hooded faces pressed to the ice floor in worship, are 10 of the Snow Witch's followers. Alright, I'm 100% certain that these are voluntary followers. I mean, slaves would be hard-pressed to worship demons like this. And this is quite a disturbing picture. I'm really glad this hand is here. And it looks quite dangerous. I mean, I don't know if that statue is anything other than a symbol, but I wouldn't want to fight 10 of the Ice Witch's minions at once. Now, there are 2 exits from the cave, one to our left and one to our right. Okay. Now, we are wearing the cloak, so we don't get to choose an option. We are wearing the cloak that the elf gave us, the mountain elf gave us. We pull down the hood of our cloak as far as possible and walk towards the tunnel exit on our right. I don't know why we cannot choose which exit to go to, but oh well. Now we need to roll against luck. Our luck is at 10, so this is not really great, but let's see how it works out, and we managed to get lucky. None of the worshippers suspects that we are an intruder, and we are able to walk through their temple without trouble into the other tunnel. Okay, so I guess we managed to avoid a confrontation, avoid an encounter. It sounded pretty dangerous, so I guess that's something. The tunnel ends quite soon at a T-junction. To our left, we can hear cries for help. Okay, so so far we're pretty good. We've suffered some wounds, but we have gathered quite some loot. And yeah, nothing has been truly scary or dangerous so far, except maybe this last encounter, which we managed to avoid totally. Now, we could turn right, or we could investigate these cries. Of course, we're gonna do that first. So let's see what is trap. Maybe it's a trap, but if it is, then we'll just have to hack our way out of it. Let's see. The tunnel ends at the edge of a pit, out of which a dwarf is trying to climb, but he keeps on slipping back. The floor of the pit is covered with large ice boulders which have crashed down from a shaft above the pit. One lands on the dwarf's shoulders, and we hear wild cheers from the top of the shaft as he tumbles to the floor. The dwarf sees us and shouts, "Curse you, stranger, if you do not aid me! I see that you are not wearing a collar." Okay, so I guess this poor soul has been trapped here, I guess. And presumably the Snow Witch's minions from above are torturing him. I don't know if he came here like as an adventurer or a scout or whatever, or maybe he's a slave that was doomed to be tortured and killed in this pit. But whatever it is, it's clear that he's on kind of on our side against the Snow Witch. So we are definitely not going to ignore his pleas and walk back to the junction. That would mean that we would leave him to die and for no benefit whatsoever. So let's try to help the dwarf out. I don't foresee any imminent danger for us. These assailants are quite far up, I guess. So let's see if we can help this poor dwarf. We didn't manage to help the fur trader, so at least this is the least we can do. We lie down and lean over the edge of the pit and tell the dwarf to grab our arm. Much to the annoyance of the spectators above, the dwarf escapes from the pit. We run together back to the junction, where the dwarf turns right. We tell the dwarf that we intend to carry straight on to find the Snow Witch, as turning right will lead us back to the Hall of Worship. Right, so that's actually interesting. I understand that he wants to escape, and presumably that's the closest route. I mean, we didn't walk much so far, so it was mostly in a straight line, basically. So that makes sense, but I don't know how this dwarf is going to make it through the worshippers, right? Unless he plans to hack them all down, which, you know, I wouldn't bet my money on the dwarf then. Anyway, the dwarf tells us that he must escape quickly and return to his village now that he is free. Okay, makes sense. He thanks us for helping him and hands us a leather bag, then runs off. But before he disappears, he turns and shouts, "Beware the white rat!" Okay? We open the leather bag and find a sling and 3 iron balls. Alright. We pack them away and set off along the tunnel. Okay, so I guess that he even gave us one of his weapons, or maybe his only weapon, question mark. So I really don't see a reasonable chance for him to sneak out of here alive, but that's his call, I guess. Yeah, I don't understand. He could have joined forces with us, and maybe we would have been able to, you know, to boost our strength and raise, you know, enhance our chances, but whatever, that was his decision. In any case, I think this is a perfectly good spot. I know we're in the middle of a T-junction and a corridor or whatever, but I guess that this is a great place to just stop, take a breath, maybe hide in the shadows while we do that, and prepare for more of the trials that we have to face. It's clear that there is some danger. There are some dangerous creatures ahead of us. I don't think that this white rat is truly a rat. I mean, we are not afraid of rats. So anyway, let's let's gather our wits, our strength, and prepare for the adventure, the plot to thicken. I'm going to make the cut of the video right here. I thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.